Hey, Kansas City, how are you doing? We are on tonight with Elyssa Driskell. We are so excited to have her. She is running the full marathon with the team in October. Guys, the marathon is coming up quick. We are so close, and Kansas City is doing a great job with fundraising. We are nearing $200,000 raised. That's awesome, and we are inching towards our goal. Guys, we have a citywide goal of bringing 10,000 kids clean water by raising $500,000, and I know that we can do it with everyone reaching their individual goals. So that's why we get to talk with our friend here tonight. And remember, I wanted to say this before we get into it, already 200 of the seats from the team dinner have sold. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, make sure you get them so that you have seats for you and your entire support group. So you can click the link in the email that I sent out this Monday to get those. So we are going to start up. Hey, Elyssa. We have two Elyssas.
I know. It's so exciting. I love
it.
That is
exciting. So welcome. Thanks so much for taking your evening to hang out with us online tonight. How many years have you been doing Team World Vision? How did it all start for you? Where did this passion for running for clean water come from?
Sure. This is my first year with Team World Vision. I'm really excited. I first heard about it at church back in May. They were talking about it, and I felt just very called. And this is actually my fourth marathon, and I said a few years ago when I did my last one, I don't really feel a need to do one of these again. It was hard, and I did a few, and I got it out of my system. But when they were talking about it, I couldn't help but feel just so called, and so I pulled my husband's hand up to the front and I said, we're doing this. And you can do the half if you want. But just from there got really excited. And I had heard about World Vision before, and my husband and I sponsor a child in Africa. So we know the organization, we're familiar with their work, but we really liked how targeted this was about water and just how tangible of a thing it is to be excited about and to feel like we're making an impact. So still really pumped and excited for race day in a few weeks.
That is so cool. Yeah, it's such a tangible thing. I just went on a run and I have my water here. And I mean, it just is such a reality how easily accessible it is for us. And so when you have your water too? She just sipped her water.
I have my water too. It's here. I have it. I always have it. I fill it up all the time.
Right. And it just keeps your heart and your mind on the luxury that we have. And sometimes we don't even notice it. So yeah. That's really cool. And I love that you brought your husband along up with you. That's really awesome. So what inspires you to set your high fundraising goals? I know that you just bumped your goal again, which is awesome.
Yeah.
What inspires you to set those goals and keep bumping your goals even when you haven't reached it, but you bump it before you get there? What gets you excited about fundraising high goals?
Yeah. I will say I was very nervous at first. I felt like, okay, I can get my handle on the running because that's something I can control. I can be really disciplined and I can get after it. So I felt anxious about it at the beginning and started slowly and with more traditional things. But the more I kept going, the more I felt like there's really only an upside to having a higher goal. And it encourages people to give and to give more and to be more involved when they see, oh, she has a goal to reach. I want to help her reach that goal. I mentioned it to someone and I shared the link with them and they say, yeah, like I want to help you get to your goal. Something that's very attached to you and that they could be excited for you about. And so just talking to them about why I'm excited about it and that it's not just about hitting a certain mark and that even if I fall short of the next one, well, I raised more than I originally would have if I hadn't have bumped that goal to begin with. So even if I don't hit the 3,000, maybe I just hit 2,400. Well, guess what? That's more than what I was shooting for at the beginning, and that's what's important is more lives reached than just X percentage of a goal.
Totally, yeah. I love that. Yeah, there's no downfall in setting a higher goal. It's always you can always call more people into that with you, which is great.
Yeah.
So you have had so many great fundraising ideas. You've tried a whole bunch of different things. Tell us all about it. Give us some ideas.
Yeah, no, I think that's been kind of the best part of all of this is those bigger goals inspire me to be more excited about fundraising, that I don't feel like I'm expecting it all to come from one donation, that I think, okay, how I'm going to get here is through a lot of little different things, and it's all going to kind of come together. So I mentioned a second ago, I started with more traditional things of kind of rallying my closest girlfriends and telling them about it, and they were my first supporters. And then from there, it was snail mail. It was direct email messages to folks. It's also been constant and consistent Facebook updates and a variety of ones. So sometimes I've shared the videos that you all will send, and those are great. But what I found is people really like seeing me and Jason doing something more than they'll always respond to a video. And so a few weeks ago, I took a picture of us after a run, and I said 7 before 7, and here's why we're doing this. Or I'll take a picture with my Camelback and say, I get to fill this up 3 times a day, and it's only down the hall, and other people would only dream of something like that. And so kind of attaching it to something that people see in their own lives and not just as a really far away problem. I've really mastered the elevator pitch, and not just for a job, but for World Vision of, if I only get 20 seconds with someone, hear the conversation to what's going on with you, what's new with you, and then bring up your running. And even if you don't get to mention World Vision, that's fine. You can follow up because you've introduced it. Because I think what felt really stressful was, oh, I have to go up with come up to someone and say, I'm ready for World Vision. Do you want to donate? All at once, and maybe it's kind of random. Maybe you don't see them all the time. So it really needs to be organic and very much yourself. And so if you don't have enough time, you can just follow up, and maybe that's more comfortable for them anyway, and not feeling is on the spot. I will say, though, at the beginning, we weren't receiving as many responses from our snail mail campaign as we had hoped, and that was really tough, and feeling like, well, we put time into this, why aren't people responding and saying, okay, well, we're going to go do something else then. And so we came up with raffling off a season ticket game of ours. We have tickets to the professional soccer team here in Kansas City. And so we put up a video of Jason and I talking about World Vision and why we're excited about it, and that for every donation we would receive of a certain amount, that we would put their name in a drawing. And so we gave our tickets away, and that campaign alone helped raise like $500 between the two of us. Wow. So we're continuing to get more and more creative the more traditional ways we've exhausted. So I just put up one yesterday, and I told people, and this is straight from World Vision, of I will wear an orange tutu if I get to a certain goal. So that wasn't a novel idea of mine, but something that I thought people would respond to. So we'll see if people respond, but definitely showing you're willing to commit and that you're excited about it and keeping that energy up. Your goal will help you do that and stay engaged kind of that whole training period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally. I think that like calling people into those big plans of yours and showing your end game, like I will wear this tutu for the marathon or for my next long run if I get to this goal, is sometimes scary for people because they think, oh, what if I don't get to that goal? But it's okay to put it out there. Can you tell us a little bit more about the 7x7 you talked about earlier?
Yeah, no. So that was, we're starting to run some really long runs on Tuesday mornings. Saturday mornings for sure we run long. But my husband and I both work downtown, and so we need to be at work by 8 or 8:30, and so we're up at 4:30 on a Tuesday ready to go. And so us taking a picture of ourselves to tell everyone we ran 7 miles before 7 a.m. because we love clean water and because we feel so strongly about it. Here's our links. And every time we mention it, we put our links. And it's not always a go donate $50. It's here's what we're doing and why, and keep reiterating that message over and over again to people and why it's so special to us. And again, at work, it's a very easy conversation for me to have. How are you doing? Well, I woke up and I ran 7 miles before I came, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
That's cool. So have you had any friends that you've asked to donate, and then have you had to remind someone? Tell us about how that goes. Like if you've had to like follow up with someone and talk about donating again, or like, I think that I have to remind my best friends more so than even strangers. Like, hey, you said to do this. How does that go for you?
Yeah, I think that can be what's really tough. I will say that's what I struggle with more. Is it's easier for me to cast a net the first time than pull that net in and kind of see who's going to donate. So I brought it up in a more natural way because that's what's more comfortable for me. So you're right. The people who I've needed to do that with more are the people who I'm closer to. But because it's them, I feel like it's okay for me to say something. So I'll mention my sister as an example, and I love her, and she says, oh, I want to donate, and I plan on donating. Just remind me. Just remind me. So sometimes I've texted her, but oftentimes it's more of just when we're talking, and I get to hear about how she is, and it naturally can come up of, I'm doing this, and I don't even need to say it, because what I come back to is it's not, you know, it's not about me asking for their money. It's already in a lot of their hearts that they want to. It sometimes falls off the radar. And so making sure when you're bringing it up that it's not coming from a place of, will you donate $50? Because that shouldn't be your priority with these people anyway. It should be, I still want to hear how you're doing, and I want to tell you how I'm doing, and here's where I'm at, and I'm really excited. And so it should be a very reciprocal thing, and not just a, I'm asking of people. So I guess kind of having that heart check when you talk to those folks.
Totally. Oh, I love that. I love hearing that. And now you just have a whole new thing to talk to people about, and maybe next year they'll want to run it too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you ever get discouraged in your fundraising? What do you do when you get discouraged?
I totally get discouraged. It probably happens more often than I'd care to admit. I really have to pause for a moment and kind of what I said, like have a heart check. First thing I do is pray, because it's a quick self identification that, am I making this too much about myself? Am I making this about, do people like me? Do they support me? And it has nothing to do with that. And to remind myself to kind of put that aside and realize that this isn't about glorifying me. It's about glorifying God and pointing others to Him and to World Vision. And I was really excited. I had someone follow up with me and say, hey, how can I sponsor a child? Not even just World Vision and donating one time, but how can I do something that you do? And so that's kind of what I come back to, is more of what it's about. And get my heart in the right place, so that I'm not saying it's a reflection of me and how others feel about me. And then I go do something. I reach out to someone new. I do something different. I brainstorm an idea of what could I do differently, or I try to equip myself. I research. I'll tell you, I look at your fundraising page. I look at other people's fundraising pages to say, what's some good stuff I can mention? What are some good things I can educate others with? I don't, it's not about relying on yourself, I guess. You just need to kind of go out and look at different things and feel inspired about it. And that kind of goes hand in hand with having a bigger fundraising goal. You feel excited, like, I can help do this. And how are all these other people doing this? Yeah.
That's cool. So you talked with me on the phone a little bit last week about your sponsor kid. How have you kept your sponsor kid in your heart, or how has he or she inspired your fundraising or even your miles?
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you said that. I forgot to mention it earlier. I have my little sheet of a couple of things I wanted to mention. One of the things I posted was after my 16-mile run. It was 2 weeks ago. I remember running, and Jason does his run sooner than me and leaves just because they're shorter. And so I was sitting in the car and thinking, okay, well, how am I going to post today? How am I going to tell people about this? And then I thought, I need to talk about Abdul. I don't tell everyone about him. I mention it to some folks. And I keep his picture in the dashboard of my car, and I have for the last year and a half, to keep my heart on the important things, so that when I'm in traffic in the morning, I'm not totally crazed and realizing that there are bigger things in this world. And so I just took a video of myself and held up his little picture and shared with people that he's really the reason we do this, impacting him, impacting others. And even in our community group yesterday, I mentioned that again, and I got teary-eyed of, I feel really strongly about how much this can bless others. And I think having that connection with him and having his picture on our fridge and having letters from him has really keyed into me about his life and what that looks like in his world in a lot more of a personal way, I guess, than just a very far thing.
Yeah, totally. It brings him close to your heart.
It does.
So, Elyssa, our last question, what inspires you to go farther together with Team World Vision?
Yeah. I'm just so excited, and I think what makes me so much more excited is how solvable of a problem this is. That's been something that's really connected with me while I've been kind of doing my researching and understanding the problem more, and just seeing, like, the numbers continue to decline every year for the diminishing number of people who need clean water still. Like, things are being done, an impact is being made, and we can be a part of this, and kind of impact something so much greater than ourselves, and kind of more of like the parts are greater, or the sum of the parts is greater than the parts themselves. I'm not saying that quite right, but I know the expression, someone should look it up. But basically, we can do so much more together than I could have ever done by myself, ever. And I think that's really special. And all of those people I run with week in and week out who inspire me and encourage me, and again, bring me that sense of what we're doing as a whole and how incredible that is together. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your heart about fundraising, about training. Thanks for sharing with us about Abdul. Thanks for all you're doing. And seriously, you are making a difference. Yeah, that phrase, what is it?
What is it?
Some of the parts are greater than the whole.
You got it. It is. That's exactly what it is. You nailed it. You saved it.
So someone should look it up. I don't know, but yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and talking about clean water and talking about why you're running. We're so grateful for you. And we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Elyssa.
Bye.